Hello and welcome to today's tutorial. This topic we're going to be covering social services and nonprofit coverage. My name is Carly Rom. I'm the marketing representative for Griffin Underwriting Services. Today's agenda, I'll go over a little bit of introduction about Griffin Underwriting Services, otherwise known as GUS. We'll cover some product information, top classes, coverage highlights, common exclusions. I'll touch a bit on vocabulary and then how to quote and bind these particular types of policies. As with each tutorial, I'll end with a contact slide just in case you need further assistance or have questions down the road. So Griffin Underwriting Services was founded in 1928. We still are family owned and operated by the Griffin family. We are one of the first surplus lines brokers in our region to be granted binding authority by Lloyd's of London. We have just over 100 employees throughout 3 locations in the Pacific Northwest, offering solutions to agents for professional lines, personal lines, commercial lines, and transportation. We do also have brokerage solutions. We've written over $95 million in premium to date, and we are licensed in all 50 states, including the District of Columbia. So when we're talking about professional liability policies, this provides coverage for professionals for claims arising out of their professional services. The coverage is provided by a standalone professional liability policy and includes coverages for events costs associated with each claim. There is no standardized forms for this particular industry, so our brokers are particularly diligent and able to compare multiple carriers to provide the best terms, the broadest coverage, at the most competitive premium prices. The breadth of professional liability policies extends to errors and omissions, with endless possibilities to have conversations with your insureds. So basically the prospect for thousands of fee-based services are out there. Each form is customized by each class. The U.S. economy is primarily a service-based economy and growing. So more than 75% of the U.S. workers are employed by the service sector. What does that mean? There is a ton of opportunity to have conversations with your clients about professional liability. E&O coverage is often contractually required. Doesn't matter the class of business. Typically it is a requirement. And what this is it's increasing the litigiousness of the U.S. society. Types of policies for E&O, it typically covers claims for wrongful acts committed while providing professional services. This can include actual or alleged errors and omissions. It can include negligence, breach of duty, misleading statements, and any other claim relating to the rendering of professional services. We see a lot of requests for E&O coverage for architects and engineers. This can include interior designers, civil engineers, geotech engineers, construction managers, draftsmen, environmental consultants, surveyors. The list goes on and on. We also see it for allied medical, including imaging centers, medical clinics, dialysis centers, physical and occupational therapists, counseling centers, assisted living homes, halfway houses, developmentally disabled homes, pharmacies, and staffing agencies. We see medical malpractice inquiries come through for doctors, dentists, and psychiatrists as well. We do have a miscellaneous E&O. We will put it on the form for risks like accountants, so bookkeeping, payroll processing, tax services, personal finance planning, personal investment advice, etc. We'll see it for attorneys. Real estate professionals, this can include agents, brokers, appraisers, mortgage brokers, and property managers. Technology professionals, this can include IT consulting, IT training, mobile application development, technology support, software sales, web development, and web hosting. And then additional professionals. Pretty much this is a blanket statement for consultants, really those who don't fall in any one specific category. Here's a short list of some of the top classes that we write this particular type of coverage for. It's not meant to be comprehensive. This is just what we see often. So if you are inquiring about a particular insured that isn't on this list, it doesn't mean that we don't write it. Please do reach out to us, give us a call. Very likely we can help you out. So who is covered on this type of policy? It's either the entity or organization or the covered persons. When we're talking about the entity or organization, this could include the predecessor or any acquired organizations. When we're talking about covered persons, this can entail owners, employees, volunteers. It also can include past, present, or future employees, including those volunteers. Every policy has a definition for specific coverage, so it'll list the scope of coverage, it'll list the damages or losses, it will list out the defense costs, whether it's included inside or outside the limit, supplementary payments, consent to settle, so a lot of times there must be consent from the insureds to settle. It also could include the hammer clause, making the insured liable for any additional damages or defense costs increased beyond the proposed settlement. And then any outside activities, otherwise known as moonlighting activities. Some common exclusions. These can typically be found in the main policy form or listed in the endorsements. Each one is different by class, but what we typically see often are those criminal and fraudulent or intentional acts, bodily injury, property damage, personal injury, returning of fees, punitive or exemplary damages, non-monetary relief, risk covered by other types of insurance, claims for prior policy periods, and then insured versus insured. This is just a short list of some of the common exclusions. A lot of these exclusions either can be endorsed back on or covered under different policies. So when we're talking about vocabulary, we've got the claim settlement written on either an occurrence or claims made base, prior acts coverage, extended reporting period, breach of contract, or standard of care. The difference between the occurrence form or claims made form. The occurrence form, it's pretty rare for professional liability. What this is it pays covered claims as long as the current policy is in force when the incident occurred. So policy has to be in effect and the occurrence has to happen within that policy period. On a claims made form, which you'll most commonly see in professional liability, this pays the covered claims only if the policy is in force when the incident is reported, and if the claim occurred in a prior policy, the retroactive date would need to be prior to the occurrence of the claim. So typically you're looking at 2 different policy periods as well as a retroactive date. When we're talking about prior acts coverage, it's usually only provided when a claims made policy has been enforced immediately prior to the current claims made policy on a basis consistent with prior policies. Prior acts coverage is defined as covering acts that occurred between the retroactive date as well as the current policy period. Then you've got full prior acts. This provides coverage from the entity's formation without a retroactive date. So you want to pay attention to the verbiage on the policy. When we're talking about extended reporting, this is typically referred to as tail coverage. Usually on all policies, you'll get anywhere from 30 to 60 days with any policy. If there is tail coverage added, I think it'll go all the way up to, I think it's 120 days. It really is dependent on the policy. This coverage is optional, but it's typically recommended when an organization is acquired when an organization is acquired or it's going out of business, or a decision is made not to purchase further insurance. It is form dependent and it can be written either in a unilateral base or a bilateral base. Breach of contract. So this is existence of an oral or written contract between a claimant and a professional. The professional breaches the contract, that's what has to happen, and the claimant needs to suffer the damages. Typically, damages are a result of the said breach. We see this as the most common claim in an E&O for an E&O policy. When we're talking about standard of care, every single policy, doesn't matter if it's what it's for, there's always a measure of standard of care, what's constituted as quote-unquote negligence. So negligence is the existence of duty or obligation to conform to a standard of care. There's ordinary negligence, which is the reasonable person standard, and then there's professional negligence, which is the professional must act with the same care as that of a reasonable member of the same profession. There is a causal connection between conduct and resulting of injury or damages, and then damages are also determined under the standard of care, or what constitutes a damage. When we're talking about E&O coverage to get a quote, we do need applications completed for this particular class of business. You can find our applications on our website, gogus.com. Certain classes do require special forms and or supplemental applications. We do need a full description of the operations and services. We need the applicant's up-to-date resume as well as a history of their experience, a copy of their standard contract or engagement letter, and then any expiring declaration page showing what their current limits and retroactive date is. We can write policies for those who are new in business, so they do not have any prior coverage. Just let our underwriter know that they are new and that there's no prior coverage. If you have any questions or we can help you at all, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. For those Allstate agents, you can email us at csr@gogus.com. For non-Allstate or independent agents, you can email us at info@gogus.com. You can also give us a call. My name is Carly. I'm also happy to help at any time. I want to thank you for taking the time to go through today's tutorial, and thank you for working with us. We appreciate your business and we look forward to working with you more in the future. Have a great day.